My name is Crystal Lopez. I'm from Pembroke Pines, Florida, and I'm 25 years old. I've lived in Florida my whole life, with the exception of about 3 years, from 2008 to 2011, when I lived in New York and studied acting at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts. I now live in Sunrise with a roommate and my dog, and I currently work as a server at an upscale Italian restaurant in Weston called Aquilina. In addition to what I do to pay the bills, I also work at a radio station. I work at 560 WQAM, doing a variety of things, production, editing. They use my voice sometimes for some of the commercials, which is pretty cool. I also am part of a sketch comedy group called the Skit Stations, which is based out of Fort Lauderdale, and I host a weekly trivia show at a local bar and restaurant. I've worked in all kinds of restaurants. Everything from fast food to bar and lounge, cafe. I've worked in Florida and in New York, Times Square, Wall Street, the meatpacking district, Soho. I've worked from really kind of low scale to Michelin star rated, Zagat rated, really upscale restaurants. I've done everything from fry cook, grill cook, line cook, dishwash. I've served for about 6-7 years. I bartended for 4 years. I've bussed tables, I've hosted. I've been a trainer at most places that I've worked, and I've been approached to be management at a majority of the places that I've worked at. But it's great. I love working in restaurants, and I can definitely understand and see why a company or an individual owner would want to hire a secret shopper or a mystery diner. I've experienced and seen firsthand managers and owners that were unethical, that practice sexual harassment. I've seen employees steal from employers. People give away free drinks, free food, people being uncleanly. And you want to make sure that you know what's going on with your restaurant. You want to make sure that you know what's going on with your employees. And it's not always a negative thing, too. You want to reward the people that need to be rewarded. Mostly, it's an insurance policy. Whether or not anything comes back, good or bad, sometimes even just knowing the possibility of a secret shopper or a mystery diner keeps the employees on their toes. The way I evaluate a restaurant when I mystery dine is exactly the same way that I do as I dine regularly. Probably because I've been in the industry for so long, I kind of nitpick a little bit when I'm out, but hey. When I first walk in, I check the ambiance. How is it decorated? Is it crowded? Is it kind of empty? Did somebody greet me at the door? Were they friendly? Were they pushy? If I had to put my name on a waiting list, was I quoted an accurate time, or did it take longer than I expected? When I'm seated and my server comes to greet me, does their uniform look good? Everything looks pressed, shirt tucked in. How is their hair? Did they look clean? Were they friendly? Were they smiling? Did they introduce themselves? Those things are all very important to me because anybody can come and take your order. But having been a server for so long, you really want to make the people feel at home. It doesn't matter what's going on in your day or if you got into a fight with somebody. You want to make sure that the person sitting down at your table, who is there to have a good time, who is there to relax, does exactly that. Now, usually when I mystery dine, when I place my order, I like to get a little bit of everything. I like to get a drink from the bar, get an appetizer, an entree, a dessert, and of course, I like to modify almost everything that I get. Mostly because you really kind of put the server on the spot. I like to ask a lot of questions, the ingredients of items, how I can modify it, little things like allergies. Those are very important. Does the server know whether or not an allergy is in an item? If they have a gluten-free menu, maybe I'll throw that in to really kind of see where their food and beverage knowledge is. and also to see how they handle the curveballs, to see if they get frustrated by all of the changes or if they take it in stride and do the best to accommodate their guest. A lot of times I'll either send at least one item, maybe two items back to the kitchen because it didn't taste good, didn't look good, and again, just to see how it is that the server and the management deals with the issue. I don't really get emotional as in being too happy or too upset. I kind of just keep a level head and see how they deal with the problem, not so much my personality. My worst mystery dining experience came from a restaurant called the Avenue Cafe in Astoria, New York. I went with two of my friends, and they had a great brunch special, so I went at noon on Sunday, peak hours. It took about 30 minutes to be sat, which at that time was normal, so that was okay. But when we got to the table, we sat down and we're not even given menus to look at. The server didn't approach us for about 8 minutes. We were sitting there with nothing in front of us. She sauntered over, and I assume she was stoned because she looks pretty stoned, and said, "What do you want?" We very plainly said to her, "We don't even have menus." She giggled to herself, walked to the host stand, brought us over some menus, and disappeared for 10 minutes. She finally came back, took our order, and left. She didn't come back until the food arrived about 25 minutes later. Usually at about 15 minutes, that's a long ticket time for a brunch or for a lunch or a breakfast item. You usually come to the table, you say, "I'm sorry for the long wait. Okay, is there anything I can get you? It'll just be a few more minutes." You reassure your guest of what's going on, and you inform them, you let them know you didn't forget about them. That didn't happen. She came back out with 3 plates, one of which was almost completely wrong. We informed her that this is not what my friend ordered, and it got sent back. There was never a manager that came and approached us and apologized. She never even acknowledged that it was a mistake. She just brought it back to the kitchen and hid until the food was ready again. The food itself was actually executed and presented very, very well, but the service was entirely lacking. The saving grace was actually a busboy who made sure that we were attended to, brought us bread, made sure that our glasses were full, really took care of us. But the server herself was absent most of the time. She never acknowledged even her mistakes or that we waited a long time or that the service was subpar until the very end when she presented the check and then began to thoroughly apologize for everything that had happened. At the end of the meal, we were very dissatisfied, and we actually, I've never done this before, we actually, in front of her, gave her tip to the busboy because he was so helpful. That, I think, was my worst dining experience, to the point where I remember every detail today. Now, like I said, I would love the opportunity to be a mystery diner for you for your show. I think that I have a very versatile look. I think that I have enough restaurant knowledge, the ins and outs, to really, really properly evaluate a restaurant. And I think quick on my feet. I improv. I can play a multitude of characters. I can do funny cartoon voices, which won't help in a mystery dining situation, but hopefully it'll make you remember me. But I would love an opportunity to work with you and to keep these restaurants on their toes, to make them high quality, high level. I have a passion for acting, but I also have a passion for food and beverage industry, for service, and I would love an opportunity to meet and work with all of you. I hope you enjoyed my tape. Again, my name is Crystal, and I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.